Also, I think that some drones, like R2D2 for example, are sentient, but at the same time, I'm not that sure because they rely on human input for their conversation starters, for their that's what they work around. They're human. They're all in on him and helping him or doing the tasks that they have to do. But at the same time, C3PO, when he tricks the guards to take R2D2 to maintenance, he has enough human skills and enough brains on human interactions to trick them. But without their human, I don't think that they're nothing more than just like a slave bot, because like if our perspectives weren't on C3PO and R2D2, then I would just look at most of the drones as just drones because they're not in the storyline, or when they're in the storyline, most of them just do jobs. But there's the one bot, I forgot his name. It was an XOD something 9, I think. He enjoys to inflict pain on people. So I guess there's different drones out there that act different. But I think that's why most of them, or some of them, are sentient, but most of them are not, because it's all based on basically their owner and what their task is. What rights the droids have are, they're kind of like property. Like I think they really need a human to either basically bring them around, or they have jobs. Most of them have jobs. Like even C3PO, when he met the silver girl, she was working on the ship, but they have human aspects, because in certain moments they call out Luke and even Han Solo for the things that they mess up on, or the things they think they can do better. And C3PO also has human traits because he tricks the guard to take R2D2 to maintenance, so they have a sort of human aspects to them. But then at the same time, he's still a droid, because over time he starts calling Luke Master Luke, because he looks at Luke's like his caretaker, even though he doesn't need taken care of. But R2D2, the same thing with him applies, because he was just put on the spaceship to fix things. And C3PO, I think he's a little more advanced than some of the other bots, because he makes comments like no worried about the droids. And I feel like there's also a sort of discrimination towards droids, because when Han was going to the bar to meet Jabba the Hutt, they walked into the bar and the bartender was like, "We don't serve your kind around here." And also R2D2, there's been many times where they use him as like a sort of mainframe to plug him into ships to get information, or plug him into things so he can take the information out. And also Luke says about R2D2, he's never seen a droid with so much persistence when he was talking to Obi-Wan. Also, the droids play a big factor because the way they act, the way they comfort Luke even though they don't have a sense of emotion all the time. I think at the start of the movies or the episodes, they lack sentient, and then over time you see like their characteristics come out, but it's kind of like an imbalance because at the same time you think that they're just different types of drones, but then you meet the other ones like the silver droid that looked like C3PO, and she talked just like C3PO, and she was basically doing the same thing. She just wasn't on the rebel side, and she ended up tricking him, so where he got his arm blown off, and then he got it put back on, or electrified back on. The droids in Star Wars lack sentient at the beginning, but over the course of time, like C3PO and R2D2, their roles start to increase. Like C3PO, at the start, he was just used somewhat as a slave, and there's certain parts where they're loading onto the ship, and they're treating them like prisoners with the other droids because they're used as kind of a tool. But then, in reference to the Star Wars movie, they play a bigger factor because into the Star Wars timeline, they play a bigger factor because of the roles in the movie. Like C3PO, where they're on Darth Vader's ship and he's controlling the mainframe, and R2D2 at the start has Prince Leia's plans when he's with Luke the whole time. They play a pretty big role.